Alright, this model was first milled using the base fixture, which it would fit into base fixture wax quite nicely. And a couple of problems ensued. One is that the base fixture wants to cut away an awful lot of wax to get down to this, and then there was some breakage afterwards. My recommendation for making this piece would be slightly different. The only thing I would do differently on this is I would add in a support. We'll go ahead and use the same layer that we have had supports on before. We'll just throw away that spare one. That layer happens to be this layer. And so what I would do, and those are all grouped together, the only thing I would do differently is probably put a support for this little leg right there. Go to my solids, circle, turn everything off here like this. And there we have the one more that I think we ought to have in the whole group as a support. Now that may mean that you're going to need to do a little bit of cleanup work when you're done. Let's just see what happens if we hide that. Yeah, there's a little bit of cleanup work going on there. The way around that would be to show that, highlight it, move it over to the inside, and then stretch it up a little bit. By doing that, we avoid getting in the way of the detail work, but we still get a support function. Yep. So, having done that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow the computer to pick what it wants to do here. So we're going to grab our model like that. We're going to grab our supports like this, and the software automatically picks a 33mm round wax, which is what I would do it on. However, I would pick the 1mm at a time cut because it's going to work its way down in 1mm steps, giving you an extremely fine finished detail without sacrificing strength right to the bitter end of the job. Now I'm going to go ahead and pick the 9-sided. That's 8 around the outside plus the end down. Leave those alone. This is going to want to come in as a roughing pass. We're talking about 5, 10, 12, maybe as much as 15mm on the wax. So we'll just go ahead and leave it as a roughing job. Cut depth. I want the cut depth to go ever so slightly deeper than that. I want it to come down into this range. So I hit my enter key. I'm done with that. Here's where the big difference is. We're going to have to walk our way through here one at a time. And I like starting at the bottom because I can expand the bottom ones and push them off the bottom and work my way up. First off, I want to look at my cut angle. That depth quite probably is a good depth. I could go a little deeper just to get some detail over here. Something like that. Then step 7, look at my cut depth. Definitely want to go deeper over into this area. Click the go button, drag my cut depth over like that, hit roughing. Now you'll notice these are all going to have roughing passes. You're going to see the mill cutting out in air. We can get rid of the roughing pass if we wanted to, based on the fact that the top cut is going to get rid of everything here. So we can go like that. And if we go back to subpart 8, we'll see that it also has roughing. We can get rid of that. The top down cut is going to relieve the bulk of the wax around like this. And we're going to be able to get away with a non-roughing cut. That may leave some wax here that we would still have to cut through. So the smart money is to just leave it at roughing. That way the machine isn't bothered with what it's going to run into. We'll go roughing like that. Step 6, we continue working our way around the outside. That definitely is not deep enough. We want to come way over like this. We want this to clean up the inside as much as possible. Step 5, that's okay. Maybe bring it over a little bit more just to mirror the one that we did from the outside. Step 4, cut depth. That's fine. Step 3, cut depth. Not nearly deep enough. We want to go all the way over like that. Step 2, cut depth. That's fine. Step 1, cut depth. That's going to do it for us. Now we go ahead and generate our toolpath. We have toolpaths. Let's review. Double check I'm recording. Yes, I am. Great. Going up to subpart 1, we want to look at part 1. There we are. Zoom in a little bit. That's going to give us a real nice start on your cutout. It's going to give us remove a lot of the wax. Yes, it's going to leave a stand of wax over here on the side, which is fine. We can deal with that as we move along. That's why we left the roughing passes in. Subpart 1. This is going to cut down from the one side. Here's our roughing cut to get rid of excess wax. It's going to take a little bit of time, but that's fine. We'd rather do that than break a cutter. Scrolling down subpart 2. Remember again that we are going to be cutting 1 millimeter at a time. That's what each one of these steps is. But we see the entire pass. Again, a roughing cut here to work our way into the wax. It's going to save us the model itself. 3. Here's where we get into some really deep cutting. You're going to actually have 2 roughing cuts. There's one right there, and there's one right there. That's good. We don't want to break anything off while we're cutting down into that model. We're going to get great depth and penetration. Subpart 4, that finishes up the four cardinal XY planes of coming at things, plus minus X, plus minus Y. Now we get into the trimming. This is what's going to really add detail to the finished product. You're going to get into all these bezels and a nice, or azures, whatever you want to call this, detail work, gallery work. It's going to get cleaned up wonderfully. 6. Again, we're going to come in from the backside, some roughing cuts. You're going to see the mill cutting air. Don't worry about that. That's normal. But it's going to trim up the backside here of your model and get you exactly the kind of work that you're looking for. 7, same thing from the other angle. Last but not least, 8 from the outside, cleaning things up. This will preserve your model. It won't fall apart. It won't be all ripped to pieces. But you're going to get a really wonderful finished job. You're going to get it off of a 33 millimeter stick of wax, which is cheaper than using the base fixture, and you're going to have a whole lot less wax to clean up when you're finished.